This is a shifter cable, and this simple little piece of steel wire has been helping derailleurs do their jobs for decades. But then one day, some hotshot bike engineer stood up and said, "I hate the shifter cable, and we must find a way to banish them from our bikes forever." Years later, there is an entire faction of cyclists that would be caught dead with one of these antiquated, low-tech relics on their bikes, and I am not one of those people. But I am curious. Welcome back, everybody. I'm JT the Dusty Dutchman. Welcome back to the Dutchman's Den, and today we're going to check out some more products you've probably never heard of before. So call me crazy, but I still am a really big fan of cable shifting. In fact, all but one of my bicycles still has cable shifting. I appreciate the reliability and just simplicity of it, but I am also very curious to try electronic shifting. So when WheelTop asked me to try out their brand new gravel-specific electronic derailleur system, I had to give it a try. So today, the first thing we're gonna do is go over the details on this gravel-specific electronic derailleur system. Then we're gonna install it on one of my bikes. And then lastly, we're gonna talk about why I'm kind of going from apprehensive about these WheelTop kits to actually really excited. All right, let's start with the easy stuff, which is, what is this? Well, first of all, the brand is WheelTop. And if you're anything like me, until very recently, you've never heard of them before. So a few months back, WheelTop sent me their road-specific electronic derailleur system to review, and that's kind of when I got to know who WheelTop is, and I made a whole video about that kit, talking about a little bit of history of WheelTop, and also installed it on one of my bikes. So if you're interested in some of that background information, I'll link that video up here and down in the description. I gotta say, so far, I'm pretty impressed with that system. So when they asked if I wanted to review their gravel-specific electronic derailleur system, I was very, very interested because that's a better application for my bicycles, and I'll show you why. So the name of this kit is the EDS GEX system, and it comes in a couple different configurations. You got two options for the build material, aluminum or carbon fiber. And you have two options for the rear derailleur cage length, which will accommodate different size cassettes. So the kit that I have is the aluminum version for hydraulic disc brakes, and it has a 93mm cage length, which will accommodate up to a 51 tooth rear cassette, which is actually really, really awesome. Once again, I think one of the coolest things about this kit is its compatibility backwards and forwards. You can use this rear derailleur and set it up for a cassette from 3 speeds to 14 speeds. And again, with the cage length options, you have a huge range of cassettes you can use with this kit, which for someone like me that has a bunch of different bikes, likes to swap parts around, likes to try different weird combinations, it's perfect for me because I can do all that, and all I have to do is go into the app, make a few changes, and set it up for a totally different bike, totally different cassette. So I love that. All right, so here's what you get in the kit. Left and right brake lever / shifters. The left side has a single paddle button. For buttons on the right shifter, you have dual paddles here. So from what I can tell, other than these levers being aluminum versus the carbon ones I have on my road kit, it looks like the bend is the same, and it's got the same really, really tough rubber on it, so not much different here. As far as the rear derailleur goes, this one looks way cooler than the road version. It definitely looks like the next iteration of their derailleurs. It looks more integrated, it looks more high-tech. There's a little bit more detail in some of the branding here. And this one also has a adjustable clutch under this cover here, which will make it better for rougher terrain. Big reason this thing is so chunky looking is because it's got an 800 milliamp hour battery. So they claim 20,000 shifts per charge, which is obviously something you can monitor through the app, which we'll get to a little bit more later. All right, next up we got the hydraulic disc brakes. The calipers are a lot like the rear derailleur, just a much better looking redesign. A little bit more modern, a little bit more stylish. You still got the dual piston, still got the mineral oil. They did do a better job with the brake pads. They have the integrated heat sinks on them, which will help reduce the heat there. So just a good upgrade. Another thing that they send with these kits now, which might be a small thing to some people, but it's a big deal to me, is this brake bleed kit. To bleed the brakes on the last kit, I had to combine like 3 different brake bleed kits to get all the pieces that I needed in order to bleed the brakes. So the fact that everything is right here, ready to go, and I don't have to search around for the right parts is, again, it's a small price tag, small ticket item, but man, it goes a long way having it here in the kit itself. So one thing you don't see here is a front derailleur. So like I said earlier, I think this kit applies to me and my bikes much better. I don't have a single bike that has a front derailleur, so why pay for that if I'm not gonna use it? And speaking of price, I actually have WheelTop's website open right now because it looks like everything's on sale right now for the holidays. They got their road kit, the gravel system that I have here, and also the mountain bike system, which I'm pretty excited to get my hands on that one too. So definitely check the website for pricing because it does seem to change from time to time. All right, now that we know what we got, it's time to install it. And that's where this guy comes in. This is my 2022 titanium Bear Claw Thunderhawk, and it's considered like an all-road bike, so it's the perfect bike to test out this new derailleur system. Out of all my bikes, this bike gets the most miles put on it every year, so it's the perfect bike to test out some new products. And as you can see, it is currently set up with mechanical shifting through this SRAM Rival group set. We got a 40 tooth in the front and a 10 to 42 in the rear. And this group set has actually been on a couple bikes now. It's like probably 6 years old and I've never had a single problem with it. So why not take it off and try something else? So as I've stated before, I'm kind of a SRAM fanboy at heart. So while we're at this installation, I'm also going to upgrade this to a 12-speed. And we're going to do that with a SRAM Eagle mountain bike cassette and a SRAM Eagle mountain bike chain. And that's kind of part of the cool compatibility of this WheelTop kit is that now I can get a little bit better range in the back because I'll have a 10 to 50 cassette and I'm gonna have 12 speeds instead of 11, and I'm gonna have more compatible parts because all my mountain bikes have this same style cassette. So I have more like parts from bike to bike. I am a little curious what swapping out all the parts is gonna do to the weight of this bike. So I'm gonna get a quick weight before we start and then we'll check it again afterwards and see where we end up. But I think the only thing left to do now is install the parts. So cue the installation montage. All right, everything's been installed. The brakes are bled, the derailleur's been tuned, the grip tape's on, and putting on grip tape and bleeding brakes are my least favorite things to do on a bike, so I am glad that's over with. So all in all, things went pretty well. It actually took a little bit longer to install this kit than it did the WheelTop Road TX kit because number one, the derailleur and shifter were not paired out of the box, and the cassette needed some fine tuning. So I actually had to read the instructions, which is not my favorite thing to do, but I'm kind of glad I did. So to me, the biggest downside to all the WheelTop electronic derailleur systems is the fact that they don't have a removable battery in the rear derailleur. You have to charge it on the bike. So right here in the instructions, which are not super easy to read, by the way, it says, do not use unlicensed third-party batteries, especially in the rear derailleurs. Well, that makes me wonder, are there licensed rear derailleur batteries you can buy? So it kind of makes me wonder if they will offer a replacement battery for these derailleurs. Now, it's not necessarily plug and play because there's a few screws you have to take off in order to swap out the battery, but still, it could get you out of a pinch if you really needed it. And on the topic of batteries, it looks like with this new kit, you can actually connect it to like a Garmin or a Wahoo GPS head unit, and it will display your gear and also your battery level, which is huge for someone like me who's gonna be really bad at checking battery level before going on a bike ride. So to sum up what I think all the downsides are to this kit, I would say the non-removable battery, the lack of infrastructure in the United States so far, meaning you're not gonna be able to walk into a bike shop and buy parts for these just yet. I don't like the proprietary charging cable, and I wish they would put some stronger magnets on the connector to charge the derailleur. So now let's talk about what I like and why I'm so excited about this kit in particular. First of all, I gotta say, it looks awesome. I love that I'm able to use the mountain bike cassette and the mountain bike chain. The black chain and black cassette looks super awesome. I love that I was able to get rid of the shifter cable. It just makes it look cleaner. As far as the weight goes, you gotta remember this is kind of an entry-level kit. It's got the aluminum parts rather than the carbon. Plus you got that big old battery on there. So I was a little worried about adding a little extra weight to this bike, but actually I only added 2 ounces. The other thing I actually really appreciate about both my WheelTop electronic derailleur systems is just the fact that we as consumers have another option. Maybe it's not as good as SRAM or Shimano yet. Maybe the technology isn't what it needs to be yet, but just the fact that it exists is just cool all in itself. And lastly, the thing that's really changed my mind from being apprehensive about these WheelTop kits to actually really excited is the fact that they actually listen to us. They've been sending their electronic derailleur systems out to creators all over the world for years, and I've watched a lot of their videos. And the crazy part about it to me is that they took that feedback from all those creators and actually did something about it. Just the fact that this gravel kit is such a huge leap forward from the road kit, in my opinion, and it's obvious that they listen to feedback and actually do something about it and make positive changes, gets me really excited for what's next from this brand. So thanks again to WheelTop for sending me another kit to review. They did not pay me, so all these words are my own. Pretty excited to get some miles on this one, put some more miles on the road bike, and bring my experiences back to you guys. So if that's something you're interested in, you know what to do. And until the next one, don't forget to get outside and get on your bike, because good things will happen. And I gotta find some food because I am starving. Did I miss lunch?